A release date for Gorn, full body tracking for the Quest 2, new VR gloves, VR devices, and AR devices, and more on this solo edition of the VR Untethered podcast. Hello, and welcome to this solo edition of the VR Untethered podcast. I'm not Brad, but I am Josh. And as always, I am untethered from any sense of reality. Only virtual reality is what I am tethered to. But I'm not really tethered because I use the Oculus Quest 2. So, I guess in a sense, my eyeballs are tethered because they're kind of, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. So, as you can see, Brad is not here today. He had some family emergencies to come up, and so it's all me today. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, let me know when you like and subscribe and comment down there somewhere. So, anyways, with no further ado, let's jump into my highlights of the week. So I had a couple highlights to this week, both which came off of side quest. I know I haven't spoken about the side quests games in a while because there's been a lot of the Quest native stuff coming out and overshadowing that. However, I jumped back in and I tried out a couple side quests things. One of which was a demo of an app that's in the Quest store, and another is a pre-alpha of the Cyberpunk 2077 Blade Runner type of game. So, let's start off with the demo first. The Racket NX demo that's available on SideQuest. It only lets you do the solo mode, so the campaign mode basically, the time trials, and not all of the levels in each group of levels is available. So I don't know how far you can progress in there in just this demo, but it does give you a good idea of the game and how fun, how challenging, whatever it might be for you, and it's a free demo. So I had a lot of fun checking it out last night. I know that I had been a little bit dubious about it in the past because watching videos of it, it looks a little confusing and not intuitive what to do. But when you are actually playing it, it's much less confusing than it appears in most of the videos that I've watched. So it is one that, thanks to the demo, I might just end up getting. So now on to the other highlight that I had this week. Blade Walker Low Police is a pre-alpha game that's on the SideQuest store, and is a low poly game that is playing homage, however you want to say it, to games like, or games and movies like Blade Runner or Cyberpunk 2077. You play a police officer, a Blade Walker, not a Blade Runner, but a Blade Walker, and there's a homicide. You need to investigate the homicide, and so far there's just placeholders in place of the puzzles, basically, and there's limited mechanics. You can move either by a teleport or by a slide option, a free locomotion. The free locomotion is done in a kind of unusual way. You are holding down the grip button, and it follows your, your controller. You control the speed of your movement by how much you have it angled or not angled. So if it's perfectly level, you're at your top speed. If it's angled in any way, you are moving slower. If it's all the way 90 degrees up, you are stopped. Of course, if you're not holding the grip button, you're also stopped. So, and it's looking pretty good, actually. I enjoyed it. I found that the sounds were maybe a little too loud and overbearing, and too constant and chaotic, but that's kind of the vibe, that it is going for, I believe. That sort of chaotic, futuristic, cyberpunk city bustle, you know. But it looks pretty good so far. The character model doesn't always follow your in-person movements properly, so there are times when it's lagging behind and it's still facing that way when you're facing that way. But I'm sure that will be ironed out and polished when it gets finished. So if you use SideQuest, I would recommend checking it out. I don't know if it's going to be an open world or if it's just going to be a story-based adventure, like a cyberpunk RPG, but that's more linear than an open world one. But either way, I'm excited to see where they take it. So, with that done, let's move on to the new releases of the week. So, we had Doom 3 for Quest come out on Sunday of this week. Again, that's not an official title. That was Dr. Beef and his team's port of the game. I've seen a few gameplay videos of it, and it looks fun. It looks like Doom 3. I don't see any major bugs that have popped up in the videos, so it looks like once again Dr. Beef and his team did a good job. So go check that out. That's on SideQuest. You will have to purchase the actual game if you do not own it. It's available on Steam for I think like around $6 or $7. So, but you do need the full game in order for the Quest wrapper to make it compatible with the Quest. So, other new releases this week on the Oculus Quest 2 is Baba Yaga, and we also had Battlescar Punk Was Invented by Girls. So both of these are more experiences than they are games. Battlescars is definitely an experience. It's more just a music-driven narrative, and I don't think you have any choice or agency in it. So you're basically watching an immersive animated movie about two runaway girls and the punk scene and forming a punk band and all that stuff. So it's $5.99, I believe. And we have Baba Yaga, which has some big name actors I don't think there's any male voices in it. I think it's just all female voices. So it's the big name actresses in it. um, and it is the story of someone who has to brave going to the scary and capricious witch Baba Yaga to get a cure. Um, this, however, does have some some agency and some choices. So it's less of an experience, more of a game, but it's still on the experience side. Um, I, I, I wouldn't call it a game, um, even though what I said just now kind of makes it sound like I would. I'm just saying that compared to the other one, compared to to Battle Scar, it's more of a game than it is an experience. But compared to any other game, it's an experience. So, evidently, you have choices and multiple endings. So, it looks like it's probably good also. And I think it's around the same price as Battle Scar. I forget exactly offhand the what the price is. So, upcoming titles, as teased at the beginning of this video, Gorn has been coming soon to the Quest for a little bit, and we now have a release date for it of January 28th. So, if you have been looking forward to your animated cartoon blood and gore gladiator-like game, it's coming on January 28th. So, yeah. I know there are a few people in the MVR Discord who are looking forward to it. I'm on the fence about it because I'm sure it would be fun, but for my taste, what I've seen in the videos, it tends to be a little too over the top, and I don't know that I'd be returning to it very often. So your mileage varies, obviously, but it's coming. It's been a popular game on other platforms, and I'm sure it'll be a popular game on the Quest platform also. We also have Jupitergrad coming out for the Quest. It's been on the coming soon list for a little bit, and I heard a rumor. I wasn't able to confirm, but I've heard a rumor that it might be coming out on January 28th as well. I don't know, maybe not, but it uses Spider-Man mechanics as his locomotion. So you're basically web slinging. You're grappling stuff, pulling yourself forward, swinging, etc. So. And it also has proven to be a popular one on other platforms, if I remember right. So it will probably be popular on this platform also. So, another, I've got it here in the upcoming titles rather than in the news, even though it could be news as well, because this came out of CES, I believe, but there is a Madison Beer immersive concert experience coming later this winter season to PC and to Steam and to Oculus, and I think I don't think it was specified PC only Oculus or both, but I'm imagining that it's probably coming to the Quest as well as the PC VR version of Oculus. So, but this was a partnership between Sony and Unreal, and they used extremely high quality motion the tracking and high quality assets to um, create what looks like, if you're just watching a flat screen video of it, at least, like Madison Beer is actually in that music hall wearing that outfit and it's a real person. So I'm curious to see how well that translates into VR. So that's something to be looking forward to. Now, on to the news. Yes, I know I go through these a lot faster when I'm by myself sometimes, but there's a reason for it today as well, because there's a lot of news to get through. CES happened, obviously, and a lot of news came out of it, despite predictions that it would be a slow VR year. It wasn't quite as big as previous years have been on the VR and AR news, but there was still quite a lot that that came out. So, first off, though, something that has nothing to do with CES, but does have to do with Twitter and enterprising and smart people doing unnecessary workarounds. Someone developed full body tracking for the Quest 2 without using Steam VR trackers. Basically, if you have a Quest 1, you can strap the headset for the Quest 1 on your waist. So it looks like a fanny pack being worn in the front. And the controllers you can strap to your feet. And then you need to get that connected to the computer, where you have to make or download a custom Unity application thing that'll then pass it on to the PC VR game that you are playing that has full body tracking support, and then you've got full body tracking using the Quest 2 and not using Steam VR. Personally, I think that's way more complicated and way weirder looking than it really needs to be. It's a nice, a nice exercise, and I guess proof of concept sort of thing. But I don't see it being practical enough to catch on anywhere. And in other non-CES news, we have VRware. On Monday, we'll be having, it appears, decals that you can put on your HMDs that show your league team name and your league name. So, like, someone who's on the VRML team Mayhem might have Mayhem, and then underneath that it'll say their username. So I know, kind of small and not really that important news, but hey, a lot of people are into pimping out the VR devices, and this is another way of doing it, and it looks like it might be a little bit better than the full skins that have been out there, because this isn't even going to try to go over the edges where the curves are, so this is just in the middle of it. So it should be a lot easier to put on. So, now we're on to CES. So I'm going to start off with Nolo. Had a big presence at CES this year. You may remember them from a few years ago with the Gear VR and the Daydream and Cardboard, and how they had a product that started off as a Kickstarter and then became a real product that would convert your 3DOF headset into a 6DOF headset. It had basically a tracker that would clip to the top of it, sit on top of your head, whatever, and uh, two controllers. Um, and I had been wondering for a while, okay, now that the Quest came out and now that the Quest 2 came out, what is their plan for the future? They went to all this work to convert 3DOF into 6DOF, and now no one's doing 3DOF anymore, and those 3DOF headsets that they were uh, targeting to work with no longer work. They're no longer around, and they're not being updated, and so this is their answer. They have several VR headsets that they have announced. One of which is a $200 6DOF headset. And all of their solutions, of their complete headset design solutions, are cloud based, which means that they are using 5G or wireless to stream all of the VR content to the HMD, as opposed to how the Quest works, which is storing stuff on the HMD. So they have the Nolo N2 mobile VR headset and the Nolo CV1 Pro motion tracking kit. And the company evidently stresses that this is by no means a replacement for PC VR experiences and their high quality graphics, but this could serve as a cheaper alternative to, say, the $299 Oculus Quest 2. So there is one potential drawback. Well, a couple potential drawbacks. So the controllers for this don't have thumbsticks. All they have are the trackpads. Also, the controllers for this are more like this shape. So, with the ball on the end, rather than the shape we are used to with the touch controllers, which is much more ergonomic. And this is a Chinese company. It's a Chinese headset. Given everything going on, I don't know how much a Chinese headset should be trusted, because they have much different standards over there on what kind of things can go into that and what kind of tracking is allowed, and so I am always a little bit leery about that. However, Nolo has made solid products, and I'm sure this would be a decent headset. I don't know if it'll be as good as the Quest 2, but it's something to keep an eye on, and it's slightly more affordable. And beyond that $200 headset, which is cool. They also unveiled a brand new standalone headset that I believe does not yet have a name, but it is another cloud-based one where you are streaming the content to the device, and it uses controllers that are more like the Oculus Touch controllers, and it also uses quote unquote sonar track, uh, ultrasonic positioning technology, and two the cameras for for the headset tracking. So uh, basically, they're using sonar uh, sound, ultrasonic to determine where the controllers are, and it's using the two cameras on the headset to track where the headset is in the room. And this is going to be custom. Oh, this is the X1. Okay, this one does have a name. Okay. Um, it can be customized in various ways. So you can have a regular display, a short focus display, different configurations, and you can have branding on it. So if you want your company's brand on it, like say a company is buying VR headsets for their workers, they can put set their company brand on it. So, um, but not much more is known beyond what I just said. So, and of course they have a revamp of their product, which takes other headsets and turns them into a 6-off headset. So that included in the kit above with the $200 tag. So, and here's where the X1 was, right? And they have the Noto X1, which is a 6-off cloud-based standalone featuring polar track spatial positioning technology, which I'm not sure what that is. A Qualcomm X1 chipset and 2.5K slash 4K screen resolution options. So, there was an article that came out last week before CES that was lamenting how VR would be present, but it would be lackluster, and there would be a dearth of affordable headsets and new technology. And I don't know. I think the Noto headsets counted an affordable headset that was there, affordable hardware, new hardware that we didn't know about already. So I think, as we mentioned last week in our podcast, that article was a little bit unnecessarily doomy and gloomy. So, so now that we're done talking about Noto, Panasonic introduced AR hubs for autos. That's basically a heads-up display on the windshield or dash or whatever that use all sorts of things like sign recognition, LiDAR detection, object collision, all the stuff that we're already used to is just in an AR display. And several other auto manufacturers just demoed evidently their versions of this or their incorporation of Panasonic in the future. So this is cool that it's still being talked about. Unfortunately, that will probably still only be an option in the high-end autos, not the standard end autos like you and I buy. So, um, I am waiting for um, someone to come along with an affordable aftermarket kit that can be installed and take your existing car and turn it into a car that has an AR hub like that. As far as I know, that does not exist yet. So, if you are a budding entrepreneur or a inventor and you've been trying to rack your brain for an idea, there's one right there, in my opinion. No, find a way to get an affordable aftermarket kit. I think that would probably do well. Rather than pay, to buy a $50,000 car, $100,000 car because you want this. Just take your existing car that you still owe 10,000 on, and put a one or $200, $300 equipment stuff in it, and you're good to go. So, moving on, Lenovo demoed its smart glasses at CES. And the Lenovo headset, that's the one that's tied with the Motorola, that tethered to a laptop, tethered to a phone, and when it's on to the phone, it has to be select Motorola brands. But we have a little bit more information about it now. Supposedly, the optics technology is similar to the Unreal or to the Nreal light, and so possibly the field of view of these headsets would be around the same as the Unreal, which is about 50 degrees, which is like about like that. So, about this far from the eye, it'd be about this big, about that wide. So, it's better than HoloLens, but it's still not as big a field of view as the Oculus Quest, Oculus Quest 2, etc., which are not as big as your real life field of view. Because I have a close to 180 field of view. I can see both my hands right here. So, um, so uh, if you are using this and you have the 5 virtual displays around you, you're only going to be able to see one at a time, because it'll be here and all the others will be off screen until you turn your head and you look at them. So, but it could be that this has a larger field of view than we think. So, we shall see. And we had the Sense Glove Nova announced. This is a haptic and force feedback glove. Now, the difference between haptic and force feedback: haptic is the vibration, force feedback, in this sense, is the stopping when it reaches a target. So, because you can have a vibration all you want, but if you can pinch all the way through a virtual object, it's not quite as realistic feeling as if you stop here and you have the vibration. That will make it feel like a solid object. So, previous solutions to this have involved creepy claw things on the back of your hand that pull back and lock your fingers in place and all that. And to be honest, the early version of this was one of those creepy looking versions. However, they've minimized and miniaturized and all that, and so now it's just a bulky looking, almost regular looking glove that can be put on in about 5 seconds, and it provides both haptic feedback and the force feedback. So if I'm reaching down and picking up a ball in the game, my fingers are going to lock here around the ball. So um, the only drawback to it is it's like $5,000. Bit out of the price range for most of us, but I believe that their primary target market is the enterprise, and for enterprise, that's not a bad price, I think. If you're running a business where something like that would be beneficial, that is probably a decent price. So, personally, I can't wait till something like this comes and is affordable for consumers. However, the more that the HMD prices are dropping, the less likely that will be, because unless we have wide mass market adoption, these things are going to cost as much as the HMD itself did, at least. So we'll see. Hopefully, one of these days we'll get a decent solution for that. That will be actually affordable, so that I could go out and say, "Hey, I want that." Walk home with them, and say $100 at most. But I don't think that's anytime soon. What do you think? Am I wrong? Do you know of a company that is working on making it that affordable? Let us know in the comments. So, we had another showing at CES, which is Real. This is not a whole lot known about this, but it is light field based technology that creates virtual images that react to your eyes just like real objects do. So there's no subversion accommodation conflict with it at all. Now, in past years, this was accomplished by the use of big, huge black boxes and a very small area and this and that. Well, what they unveiled to this year has been miniaturized to the point where it's much, much smaller. So they have an AR and a VR prototype, and they both strongly resemble currently available AR and VR headsets. They have a plan for the end of next year, 2022, to further miniaturize everything so that it can the light field can fit inside standard glasses frames. So that would be awesome. And it says in the article I'm reading here, the Serial AR headset prototype has a resolution of 1000 by 1000 against across a 60-degree field of view. So slightly better than what we are assuming for the Lenovo, but still on par. And they claim unlimited depth resolution and the more miniaturized version that they are working on for the end of next year, they are hoping to be able to use a trick to make that possible, which is the central 30 degrees of the field of view uh, occupied by the light field, while the peripheral view would be filled with non-light field imagery out to 60 degrees total. So, basically, fixed foveated rendering. The the actual high detail light field is set up right in the middle in the foveal area, and outside of that, the lower resolution and non-light field technology. So, um, the only problem with that, in my opinion, is if it doesn't include eye tracking, so that that can move around with you, then you are stuck with the same problem that VR headsets have, which is if I want to look at something that's not in the sharp area, I have to move my whole head. I can't just move my eyes and go. So, um, but hey, it's a step in the right direction. No, as one step closer to bringing light field technology into actual products that people would actually wear and use. So, no one has had a chance to try this yet, obviously, because CES was completely digital. But given past products and whatnot, they're probably completely accurate in their um, th- the video demonstration of it. So, and speaking of Panasonic again, do you remember the steampunkish looking VR glasses from last year or a year before? Well, they're back and improved a little bit. Um, excuse me. Panasonic has improved on the design, come back with a redux, um, an evolution of their previous design, and the frame of the glasses are a little bit thicker. Is a little bit thicker. So the glasses can now have integrated speakers and not earbuds, just integrated speakers, and as well as two cameras for 6-stop tracking. Um, the displays are higher resolution now as well. The glasses have a reported 2,560 by 2,560 micro OLED displays with a pixel density of 2,245 ppi. And there is an integrated diopter adjustment mechanism so that the lens properties can be adjusted to fit everyone's eyes. So no need for prescription lenses, I guess, because you can adjust it to your prescription. So, and it will need to be connected via USB-C to a smartphone or a PC. One major drawback is it's got around a 70-degree field of view, much smaller than the Quest 2, which is on the small side. So they do look really cool. It remains to be seen when they actually get launched, and how much they will cost, and how well they take off. Now we have more smart glasses. The Vuzix smart glasses. We don't know a whole lot about it except that it is using uh, micro LED displays and proprietary waveguides. And it's got stereoscopic rendering of the notifications, so you always have a 3D display in front of you. Um, there's also mention of an integrated noise canceling microphone and stereo speakers. And so of course, you need to connect it to a smartphone. But these are connected wirelessly via Bluetooth instead of via a cord. So that's a plus for these uh, because wires can be yanked out, they get in the way, they can catch on things. Yeah. Always better to have wireless than wired, in my opinion, in terms of ergonomics and whatnot. In terms of speed and reliability, yeah, wired is better. So, and these do look, according to their product images, they look almost like regular glasses, and they wouldn't stand out too terribly much. So that's a plus. Um, the next to the last bit of news is Google had an AR streaming from the cloud demo where if you are on a 5G network and you are close enough to one of the Google Edge server locations, when you scan a QR code, you will see a high resolution AR image of a pickup truck, I believe it was. Let me double check. No, a Jeep. Right. So they partnered with Fiat Chrysler Automotive to showcase the new Jeep car in an innovative way. So you can see the new 2021 Jeep Wrangler 4xe by scanning a QR code, and then the 3D model appears in front of you in AR. However, because of the Google AR Cloud streaming services, if you are on a fast enough network and you are so close enough to the Google Edge server, as I mentioned, you will see a 4K version of it. And it gets rendered extremely fast, or it gets rendered on the servers and streamed very fast to your phone. So, because the rollout of 5G is not all the way done, and I don't know how many Google Edge servers there are, this isn't going to work everywhere. Probably most places you would go to try it, you're just going to see the standard resolution image of the Jeep. But if you happen to be in one of those good areas, you'll see the 4K version. So this is more of a backbone improvement, laying the groundwork for being able to move the content off of the devices and into the cloud, which would result in more affordable devices. As mentioned earlier, the Noto headset is using cloud streaming for the VR. So that's one of the reasons why they are able to have it be $200 for that base unit instead of $299 like the base Oculus Quest 2. So anything you can do to reduce the cost of the physical devices is gonna hopefully result in increased adoption and sales. So we'll see how and where this gets used. Of course, this is Google, which means that they might develop this to the point where it's almost finished and then they will abandon it. But hopefully, their proof of the concept here will inspire someone that will keep it going to keep it going. All right, our last bit of news. Thank you for hanging in this far. If you have, if you haven't, I'm disappointed in you. You really should have hung in this far. So, anyways, our last bit of news is a VR-controlled robot from Pollen Robotics. This is interesting. It's not strictly speaking VR news because it's more about the robot than it is about the VR usage. But if you are on a solid enough 5G network, you really need a strong and fast network. You should be able to operate the robot in pretty much real time and without having very much motion sickness, even if you are prone to it, because it shouldn't have low frame rate or any visual glitchiness. So, but basically, this is controlled with a valve index, and the robot copies the movements of your head and your hands. And the robot has the two cameras on its face, so you can see what you are doing rather than blindly doing stuff. Its price puts it out of reach of consumers, of course, which not too big a deal because it's not really a consumer device at this point. The price, according to this article, is $17,000. So it's still a prototype, but in the future could be used as a host at a restaurant, perform dangerous maintenance operations, allow remote surgeries. It could be used by the police to disarm bombs. There's all sorts of potential uses for it. So it's very cool, and it also reminds me of something we have talked about before that I haven't heard anything new on in a while, which is remote-driven cars using VR. So, like, if you're a long-haul trucker, you could, in theory, someday be at home using your VR headset to drive your truck on the highway, and have it be real time. Have it be like just milliseconds of delay, which is you have half a second of delay when you're physically in the car. So, who knows? That may happen someday. So, anyways, that is all the news that I have for you so far. There was more at CES, obviously. There were new NVIDIA RTX laptops announced, which are presumably VR ready. There were AMD launched its Ryzen 5000 mobile processors for laptops. Intel has its Rocket Lake chips, so there's more, but those are not quite as VR specific there. Not quite as VR specific in ways as the XR2 chip was, which came into VR really quickly in the form of the Oculus Quest 2. So, again, if you watched this far, thank you for watching. We greatly appreciate you sticking with it and watching it this far. Remember, please, to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below with anything that you liked or didn't like, that you agreed or didn't disagree, or that you agreed with or you didn't disagree with. See what I did there? No, seriously, we would love to hear from you. Drag your friends over, force them to like and subscribe. Also, remember to hit that alarm bell so you are notified when we have a new upload. And have a great rest of your week. Bye.